Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Broadcasting straight to you from a spaceship currently dodging anti-aircraft fire over Los Angeles, California. Actually, we're not dodging anything. Their guns can't touch us because we're using UF engines. That's unified field, for anyone that doesn't know. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which proposed that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. You will find it, I guarantee you. My wingman for the show, once again, Jonathan from Jersey. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Mark?
Hey.
Doing good.
Did Melissa bring you some coffee?
Yes, and I'm just about to have a sip. It was piping hot. It's espresso, and hold on. Lord Stephen Christ, that's strong. Wow. And to Jonas, I won't be drinking or eating this show. I won't be chomping any Chinese food either.
Yeah, we had someone write in recently and say that they're hearing. He uses some fairly high-end headphones, I think, and listens to us very intently, and says that we eat and drink and type, and we don't. And that's true. I hardly ever mute my microphone. I'm pretty quiet on this side, and while I'm going on rants, Jonathan tends to snack down.
You know, we're pretty laid back around here. I mean, I do this show in my boxer shorts. I just, it's over Skype, but I have the video off.
Really?
Not really.
I was about to say
I wear a wife beater too because I'm from Jersey, and all us Italian and Portuguese guys wear wife beaters and boxer shorts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something.
With coffee and mustard stains on them.
Coffee and mustard. And I unfortunately am required to wear the regulation suit and sunglasses. I can't even take off my ID badge.
Well, you know what it is when you paint a picture, you hear a voice all the time on air, right? So when you think Alex Jones, you think of what? You think of the bullhorn, right?
Yeah.
But when you think of certain people, what do you think of? You just hear a voice.
Oh yeah. Very few people do they match up to their voice,
right?
Yeah. It's true, especially with like radio DJs where you never ever see them. People know what I look like because I went and did some Skype interviews. And the video's out there. If anyone wants to know what I look like, there's several videos. That's why I label everything. So when I do an interview, it'll say via Skype audio or via Skype video or via phone or whatever it is. And so if anyone wants to check me out, I mean, the resolution isn't great, but that's okay. Anyway, we got lots to talk about tonight. And,
a lot.
We got stuff to cover. First thing, though, I've got to mention, because people are going to find this out eventually, is my wingman has his own show, which is debuting this Thursday on this very network. Is that the case?
Yes, I will be a captain of the USS Excelsior. I won't be a wingman on that show.
Wow. Well, we haven't even really talked about this. Are you even going to have a wingman on that show, or are you going to solo for a while?
Well, I was thinking, I definitely wanted you to come on the first show and help me out to launch.
Oh, of course.
And I definitely want to interview people, but I'm going to have a lot more call-ins and leave it open to the audience. The show is called Perceptions.
Yeah.
Because basically the truth is, it's subjective. It's, it depends on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And so I want everybody to actively participate and say, well, this is what I believe. Let's discuss it. I'll bring up a topic and just throw it out to the audience to decide.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I was really, you sent me your logo last week and I didn't even pay attention to it when you sent it to me. I was like, yeah, whatever. So he's thinking about doing a show. And the next thing I know, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, we're doing a show. It's actually going on this coming Thursday. I was going, holy smokes.
It's up in the queue. It's what is it, 12 Eastern, so it's 9 p.m. Pacific for 2 hours.
Yeah, so it's going to be for you night owls out there. It's going to be, well, I'm sorry, what is it, midnight to 2 on the East, which is that's 9 to 11 on the West Coast.
Yeah, so it kind of fits in there before Art Bell, or an hour before, or whatever. And
good for you, man. I'm really excited for you. This sounds like a lot of fun, and yeah, and you're not going to be keeping me up necessarily because I'm on the West Coast.
Oh, there you go.
Right now, and we're going to segue into that for a few minutes, which is for those of you who are thinking about sending me something, and we'll get into the cookie people and stuff like that in a second. I am currently not in Boulder, Colorado. All my mail is being forwarded to Whidbey Island, Washington, up there in Seattle. Up north of Seattle, near the San Juans. If anyone hasn't gone up there, it's a really beautiful place. And I grew up here. And people have asked me, because I have talked to a few people via email, what I am doing up here. And I will be as transparent as I can. I am up here, but one of the big reasons is, something is happening. That there's a lot of people, a lot of buzz. You and I have talked about it, about what may or may not be coming in the fall. If Jade Helm was just one of the things, the blood moon, the Pope addressing Congress, the Dalai Lama coming to the country, all this weird stuff is happening, but even the psychics out there can't put their finger on exactly what may be happening. And of course, it didn't help that the New York Times, I don't know if you saw that article, ran, it was a couple weeks ago, it ran an article saying how the Northwest is due for a massive earthquake, similar to the one that hit Anchorage, in the 60s, right. Anchorage, Alaska. Which just, and if there were more people don't understand that earthquake that hit Anchorage, Alaska, years and years ago, if there was a good sized population up there, it would have been horrible. I mean, streets were like turned upside down and buildings, they didn't even have very big buildings, but the Northwest, Seattle in particular, they were describing in painful detail, how things could go south. So
wait, where you're at now, the one that they're predicting, I guess, like what would that affect you with?
Well, on the island, it's different because so if I was living literally 10 miles to the east of here, over in, near basically on the I-5, Interstate 5 freeway, that goes down towards Seattle, I'd be in real trouble because there's a lot of people. I'm on a fairly rural island right now. You have to get on a, a ferry from the south end, and the north end is the Deception Pass Bridge. So there's not a lot of people on this island. It's they roll up the sidewalks at night, and you can use your high beams a lot when you're driving through the roads here at night because most people don't even know what high beams are. It's like there's a high beam sitting in your car. It's like, nah, I never used it. Well, you would if you lived here, and that's how we know other cars are coming, because we can see the high beams from a distance coming through the trees. But
nope. Let me ask. Wait. You just gave me a thought. So if you're on more like solid ground, like hard bedstone, what do you call that stuff? Bedrock or something like that, or I guess the earthquake would be amplified because it's rigid as opposed to something that has give.
Yeah, and again, we're in a weird place. This is kind of like the San Francisco Oakland thing because we're in an inlet. It's literally a series of islands that are inside. It's away from the Pacific Ocean. So, in fact, directly between us, if you head due west of here, you'll run into the Olympic Peninsula, with this, which is a big mountain, big mountain with a rainforest. So, even if there was a big, a tsunami, I don't even know how a tsunami would act inside this area. All I know is that Seattle would be in a really, really rough shape because all the freeways are really compact and they run next to each other. It's not spread out like Los Angeles is. Everything's really tightly packed, and they were talking about in that article that there'd be, and they weren't kidding when they said this, that there would be parts of the Northwest which wouldn't even have fresh water for 6 months. after this thing hits. So I don't know. So anyway, I better safe than sorry. And just decided to come up here, bring my my prepper gear with me. Oh, you know what? I should probably preface that. I'm a prepper, and for anyone that's followed my interviews, you would have heard me mention it a few times. You and I have talked about it. Mm-hmm. I think I've sent you the manual, but I wrote a manual, a prepper guide back after Katrina in 2009. And it was pretty cool. It was, and we discussed it. We covered 3 shows on it.
No, wait a minute. To be fair, no offense. One page it reads "Bend over, kiss your ass goodbye," followed by 20 pages of toilet paper. Doesn't constitute a book.
Nice, nice. That's good. No. It covers it basically. Covers what people should do, to prepare. But even if you don't prepare, here's some backup things you can do. So for anyone who wants it, I'm telling you guys now, because I did this on and I got a lot of emails from one of the interviews. If you want a free prepper guide, I'll just email it to you. PDF doesn't cost me anything, doesn't cost you anything. It's a cool little guide. It'll help you in yours. I guarantee it. It'll put you in the right mindset, and it's very logical, logic based. It's sort of, I sort of did it in the clues format. Just email me at msargent, MSARGENT 23. That has nothing to do with September 23, by the way. So msargent23 at comcast.net. I will send you a free prepper guide. I will just shoot us fast.
Can I make one suggestion if you make another revision to it?
Sure.
Put the toilet paper in the front end of the book, because I think if you're going to kiss your ass goodbye, after you're done shitting yourself, you should clean.
You're horrible.
I'm sorry.
You're absolutely horrible.
Because they always use that acronym. What is it? TS. The crap hits the fan.
Oh, yeah.
TSH.
No. It's ST. Shit hit SHT.
Terrible.
SHTF.
Right.
It's 4 letters. Shit hits the fan. Sorry if I'm swearing for those in the religious sector. I know we're not supposed to really say that much, but it is internet radio, so we can let it slip every once in a while. But yeah, it's I wrote it because of the Katrina thing. It irked me so much, and this is review for some of those people out there. It irked me so much that after Katrina, after they evacuated the entire city, out of the people that came back, 3 out of every 4 people that came back still didn't prep anything. That drove me insane, because it's like, look, you just got flooded. Your house was destroyed. You barely made it out with your lives, and you're coming back. You're still not going to put down food and water. Here's a case of canned food, a thing of water. It's not, if you get hungry, eat it. Just replace it with something else. Anyway, the point is, anyone wants a free prepper guide for anything that might be happening in September. There's other guides out there. Mine is free. It's a cool thing. It's about 100 pages long, roughly. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's broken down into real easy to follow sections. msargent23 at comcast.net. I will send it to you. It's only about 2 megs. Print it out if you get a chance. That's my only recommendation.
It is a good guide, though. It is.
Thank you. I tried to make it for all the office people I used to work with, which, they didn't prep anything. They weren't going to prep anything. And, some people's logic was, well, I'll just get a gun and steal it from other people, which is fine. That's one way to go about it. But even if you're going to do that, you're going to need some sound advice.
Can I tell you something? I was just at Costco over the weekend. Well, actually this morning, right? It's Saturday. Mm-hmm. And every time I'm there, I look at all the abundance of everything, seemingly.
Yeah.
And
seems like a lot, doesn't it?
It seems like a lot. Yeah, when you're standing there next to rows and rows of chicken or meat or, GMO fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
But, when you look at the pallet loads and big carts filled with stuff going out on a daily basis, I'm thinking, how long before this would all be emptied out? Like 3 days? I don't know, 2 days? And that's if people come in with fistfuls of cash, if they shut down ATM and credit lines first.
Yeah. And we won't. Oh, before we even get into that, I've got to mention, I didn't know, because I do want to talk about that for a second. And that is, we're going to try to do a call-in. This time. Yeah, we're going to let people call in. I will give out the number. It is not a toll-free number. Because I'm going to go use my own. I've got a dedicated line for this thing, and people can call in and we're just see how it goes. Do be nice. You don't want to go up against Jonathan and I, and say something. Please be somewhat sober. Please don't be. So don't call, don't have a fifth of Jack in you before you pick up the phone and like screw up the number like 2 or 3 times and then call in. Because if you can't talk to me, because I think I told you, I get almost no crank calls, but the one weird one I got at like 2 a.m. I didn't listen to it, or I didn't pick it up. It went straight to voicemail, and the guy was just like, and you know what else? Click, dial tone. It's like, oh man. So
by the way, speaking of crank calls or whatever, I got a crank. Well, no, it was a legitimate Skyper who wanted to engage with me and ask me questions.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the false pretenses on which they felt like they had to reach out to me, claiming that they knew me or, where they met me and such. So I finally I deleted them or blocked them. And if they're listening, I'm an approachable guy. I'm open to conversation all the time. You can ask Mark. Like I'll talk to anybody just like him. But not when it's like under lies like that. Like, just say who you are. I mean, I'm open. Yep. And well, you know what? Next week, call in my show. I don't give a damn.
There you go. Yeah, call Jonathan's show, and I'm going to take more callers. People have said I should take more callers, which is fine. And we just haven't worked it in yet. We've been busy doing other stuff, and just now, actually, since I moved up to the Northwest, now I'm finally in a place where it's like, okay, let's do this. So we're going to take callers tonight. I'll give you out the number in just a little bit. But first, have we given enough time? Do we give out the number? You know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Costco thing real quick, and then I'll give out the number, and then we'll go on to some other stuff, which is well,
I was going to say one thing, like besides just the supplies of the food and stuff that's there, right? Because I know Melissa and she's very health conscious. I'm not as I wish. I'm educated, but I don't practice as well as she does.
Yeah.
So she's really strict on organic and gluten free and things like that. Yeah. But I look at a lot of the food products that. It's sad because you can see the profile. Like I love to study people. I love physiognomy and patterns in people's personality types. Mm-hmm. And you see some of the ailments that go with the people pushing the carts. And then you look at their cart and you're like, Jesus, there's a lot of sugar in that. There's a lot of high fructose corn syrup. There's a lot of GMO or chemical, and I know what's in each and every one of these products. And I actually know what those things mean, like how to, those big chemical laden words. But, and this is without judgment. Granted, like they want to eat what they want to eat. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when I see the kids that are with them in tow, and if the mom and dad are heavy set, and the kids are following, you can just see that the health that's following them. So I'm thinking to myself, not only is it going to be an issue of getting stuff in a time of need, right, in apocalypse, but it's going to be the quality of food and stuff available.
Oh,
and
and
it's just I don't know.
Yeah, and by the way, Costco, for those people, and you'll see it in the manual if you email me, or you can look up one of our previous episodes, because we did a 3-part series on this where we touched on, I think, about 70% of the manual.
Yeah.
But look, Costco is going to be, you do not want to be there, because there's going to be a lot of people there, and it's not like there's, Costco is different from a grocery store where you have all glass front and, tempered glass everywhere. Costco is a fortress by comparison. Right. It's concrete, it's rolling steel doors. They're very heavy and
easy to close.
Yeah, easy to close. And the local law enforcement generally have instructions. That happened down in Katrina. I guarantee everyone else has got contingency plans for this, where, a local law enforcement takes over. They go there. The special weapons teams will go there. They will close down the store, and they will try to hold it for as long as they can to preserve a central government, local government. So don't think you're just going to be able to walk up to that place. And even if you can, it's, you're going to, you think you're the only person that thought of this? That parking lot is going to be jammed with angry people. Right. So just prepare, again, read the manual. You'll get what I mean. There are better targets. Costco is not one of those places, unless you are literally inside the Costco when it goes down, whenever it happens, don't plan on going there.
Well, let me say this also in the meantime. If people are looking to buy organic, I found out Costco is one of the largest retailers of organic products now. Yeah. They carry the largest selection. And here's a sad thing. Think about this. Yeah. Isn't it sad that you have to put the word organic on a food, and everything else is not labeled? Like, it should be the reverse, right? Anything that has chemical, it should say chemical food product.
Yeah.
And organic should be anything that's not labeled organic. Like, this is real food.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But inversely,
money talks. I mean, if you're going to go down that road, why don't you, ask why cigarettes are the only product in this country that isn't required to list the ingredients on the label?
That's true. That
with enough money, you can buy yourself. Even after all these years, we still cannot get them to put the ingredients on the label, and it's probably good that they don't, because if you saw what was in it, people would still swear.
Here's a funny one though. Fast food. I saw a commercial the other night. It was Hardee's hamburgers.
Yeah,
and it says now made with all natural. Real beef, right? But then there was a little asterisk, and if you read really quick, I had to freeze the frame on the TV, and it says does not include the bun, the vegetables, or any of the other stuff. Oh. So that's still GMO and whatever the hell they put in there.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Before we get to our next topic, let's throw out the phone number, and this number is not going to change from week to week. I'm going to use this number for as long as I can, or until the wonderful producers at TFR tell me not to. And that number, it's not toll free. It's just a number I got. It's 720-897-6111. That's right. 720-897-6111. Operators are standing by, and that operator would be me. So be nice. All right, what else we've got a few minutes to the first break. And again, if somebody calls in, hey, fantastic. Pick up your phone, call in, try to talk about the flat earth stuff if you can. If you want to talk about something else, that's fine. I don't want to talk about recipes necessarily. But other things we could definitely. There was one thing I was going to ask you. In fact, if you guys call in or email me, I'd like your opinion. So anyone's listening to the show, Jonathan's been bugging me recently about turning on the comments for all my videos.
Dope. I bugged you the first time, and it went pretty well.
I admit. I'm not a big believer in hate and the anger that's out there. And we got a call right away, don't we? Here we go. You ready?
Dum 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 dum.
Dum 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 dum.
Go for it.
There we go. You are on. You there?
Hey, is this Mark Sargent?
It is Mark Sargent and Jonathan. You don't have to give us your name, but where are you calling from?
It's Mike from New York. How you doing, Mark?
Good. How are you?
What's going on?
Good.
What's on your mind this fine evening?
Okay. Well, I had one question. I think I emailed you about it. I mentioned it briefly about how, you probably see the same thing up in Seattle where you are.
Yeah.
I visited Bar Harbor, Maine years ago, and I noticed there that the tide receded a lot more than it did in the not far from the geographical New York area.
Okay.
And somebody told me it's the further north you get or away from the equator that the tides recede more. Do you notice the same thing in Seattle? Or I wondered, does the same thing happen as you get on the other side of the equator towards the southern tip of South America? Does the same thing happen? Does it recede more so there than it does closer to the equator?
Wow.
Where's the dump button? That's a hard
question. No. It's a tough question, but I'm not going to dump them because this is a tough question. It's like, holy smokes, this is why I got to vet.
It could be a clue one way or the other. It might not mean anything.
Well, anyone's listening. I actually have not. Yeah, I have not gotten that one, and we've been doing this since February, so that's a good one. I can tell you that where I live, it all depends on the tides. Where I am, depend on the shallows that are close to it. In fact, I'm really close to a beach here that's called Useless Bay. Literally, it's called useless because ships can't. The tide goes out literally a full mile, a full 5,000 feet, and ships can't park there. But other places, it just drops a certain level. It doesn't reveal sand. So I don't know. That's an excellent question. I had not. Did you read that somewhere? Did somebody just mention it to you?
No, it's just empirical because when I had been up in Bar Harbor as a youth, I remember the joke was there was an island off the coast a little bit.
Yeah.
And, a young man would take a girl on a date, drive out there at low tide across the bottom of what was once a channel, and get stuck there when the tide came in. They'd have to wait an extra hour.
Ah, that's very clever.
And I never forgot that story and what happened, but down here in New York, it doesn't happen. Like, the tide goes down a little bit, but you never see I've never seen the bottom of the bay or
You know what?
That's all. If there's a way to check I'm
going to ask around. That's a good question. I'm going to look into it.
Can I say something? This is an excellent first call because this is totally validates what I said about opening comments up on all your things. We need callers like Mike to come in with these kind of questions because I can only see so much and know what to add. And when people bring this in, this is all the critical thinking we need to work on this. All right. This is awesome.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Mike.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mike.
I have one more question, a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, other people waiting. Okay, my other one was how, my eureka moment or my aha moment as an adult is during the last equinox around March 20th, 21st, I was speaking to somebody in Rimini, Italy, and I was telling her, hey, tomorrow's the equinox, that one of 2 times a year you can stand an egg on its end very easily.
Yeah.
I told her, I said, check your local time, thinking it would be a different time because it's halfway around the world.
Yeah.
And she texted me later on saying, no, it happens, whatever it was, 6 p.m., but it was in real time, simultaneously, the same time that it happens here. How could it be? I mean, I'm not a physicist. Maybe it's but the thing is, how can it take place where simultaneously you can stand an egg on its end in real time unless the Earth is flat?
Good point.
Well, that's a very good point.
Yeah, excellent one, man. And unfortunately, we got 30 seconds to break, so I got to let you go, Mike. But thank you. Hey, you're the first caller. Thank you.
All right, dude. I'll listen on the air. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
Wow, this is going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we get 20 seconds to the break, and I'm going to throw out the phone number. Let's do that before we go. You guys want to call in and talk to us? 720-897-6111.
With Chris and Shuri Geo. Friday and Saturday on Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent. With me is Jonathan from Jersey. So this is our take 2 on this one. I don't even know if the first one's on there. We'll have to hear it in post.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're doing some call-ins for the first time ever. Phone number to dial in, you guys will go straight through to me. I will pick you up, is 720-897-6111. It's just a Colorado number, weird charges apply, and you're not going to be tracked by the NSA as far as you know.
Hey, by the way, did you mention Rob?
Rob?
Yeah.
Skiba?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to, though, in a little bit.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
So, hey, you might want to turn your mic up just a hair.
Okay.
Just so you know. But I am gonna talk to him. But first, before I do, I've got to mention, not the cookie people, but I'm going to mention John from Staten Island, right? Is that what I just sent you? Yeah, John. Mm-hmm. Can you pronounce his last name?
Oh boy, no, it's like Gabagool or something. It's Italian.
It's Italian, but I can't pronounce it. It's R-A-P-A. Should I mention this on air? Heck, I'm going to.
It could be Rapaciolio.
Yeah, R-A-P-A-C-C-I-U-O-L-O. And the reason I'm mentioning to him is because I am holding in my hand, could be the first one of its kind, a flat Earth Frisbee. It's blue with a silver flat Earth map and the azimuthal equidistant map that's drawn in the center of it, and it's really, really cool. And he sent me a bunch of these. just had them shipped out, and it's really, really cool. And he mentions in the email here, do you mind if I link the Flat Earth clues from within the Kickstarter project for the Frisbees? Absolutely, you can. If you're listening to the show, yeah, and I'll also email you and tell you, yeah.
You know what I like, by the way?
What?
I love that they're UN blue.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's UN blue with silver on it. It's great. I'm gonna keep one on my desk, but the rest I'm gonna take, I think, to a barbecue. And
I actually want one. They're really cool.
Yeah, and well, I just sent you his thing, so send a thing to him and see if he'll see. I'm sure he'll send you several because again, he's out in Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
And you're in Jersey, so sending it out here to Washington, that costs a little bit. Thank you very much if you're listening, man. So John, for making these Flat Earth Frisbees, fantastic. I haven't even really gone to the Kickstarter thing. I don't know if he's selling them on there or did he have a price on there for any of these things?
No, I don't know. Hold on, let's see.
Maybe
I see a Kickstarter price. Pledge of $1.
Maybe not.
I don't see it.
No worries. Again, look up Flat Earth Frisbees on
$5.
$5 for a Flat Earth Frisbee. I mean, I'm sure they're real cheap to make, but it's a cool idea. I like it. I hiccuped right there. I'm sorry. I'm drinking iced tea. I'm not actually drinking alcohol. Okay, so you mentioned Rob, and it's good you brought him up because I've got to mention him. A lot of people emailed me, and thank you for everybody who emailed me first and said, have you seen what, because I've heard people have emailed me before and said, oh, this person's quitting, this person's getting out, it looks like this person's thrown in the towel. And to date, I've seen very, very few people on the Flat Earth side actually quit. It's just, I just can't take it anymore and I'm out. However, Rob Skiba, from the religious standpoint, from the Christian side of things, heavy Christian, chapter and verse, he was about as high profile as it gets. And somebody emailed me and said, no, Rob Skiba is quitting. And I was going, no, that can't be happening.
Huh.
And I went to his website, and sure enough, he just had a single banner up telling about, how he was getting, attacked from all sides and he was losing friendships and business contacts and the whole 9 yards. And he actually put up a Phil Collins video in response saying, the Phil Collins video from the 80s, I don't care anymore.
Whoa.
And then he turned around and this was on, oh, by the way, this is his main website, which was testingtheglobe.com. And it's still there now. So I wanted to read to you guys real quick because he's back, and it did not take him long to come back. And I know you probably want to comment on this, Jonathan, and I will let you, but I've got to read this first.
Sure.
Because he, at testingtheglobe.com for a few days at least, he had a banner up there that just said, "Look, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done fighting people." It's not that he didn't believe in the flat Earth. It's that, I know he never officially said that, but that was his out. I totally get where he was going with that. But he was getting hammered. People were coming at him. And so I want to read to you real quick what it's only about it's a big paragraph, but I got to read it to you. And I don't know if you have it in front of you, Jonathan, but it's called Testing the Globe, all one word, .com. It's called The Site is Back Up Again. And this is Rob's words, not mine. So, as some of you may have noticed, on August 16th, I basically shut the site down, posting only the YouTube video of the Phil Collins song, I Don't Care Anymore, with a brief, frustrated commentary below it, because that's exactly where I was that day. If you have not experienced it yet, you will soon find out that this particular subject matter, like no other, tends to bring out the very worst in people. Indeed, almost since day one, this quest for truth has brought us nothing but pain and significant damage, emotionally, spiritually, and especially financially. The attacks have been relentless. This tells me that there must, in italics, must be something to it for the enemy to respond that way. I've covered many controversial subjects in my life, but none have even come close to bringing the kind of resistance as this one. This is true. So the day I shut this site down, I was really feeling like I never should have gone down this rabbit trail in the first place. And I had truly had enough of it all. But now I now realize that was selfish of me. I know many people have come to rely on this site for their own quest for truth. So I am sorry. My haters have been so vocal that I ended up forgetting how many supporters we have too. When I shut the site down, many people reached out to me, sharing how much the site and my quest to understand the nature of the world and its place in the cosmos has meant to them. They shared how many people's lives have actually been impacted in a positive way. They asked me not to grow weary in well-doing and encouraged me not to give up while I may still be uncertain concerning the matters covered on this site, and while we've had to endure much negativity along the way, I have to remind myself that one changed life makes it all worth it. That said, we desperately need your support. So with this in mind, I hope you enjoy the information presented here. I will do my best to not let it get to me again. I only ask that you do your best to help us along our journey. If truth is the end goal, what better way to get there than together? Sincerely, Rob Skiba.
I thought we were going to take turns reading that like in Bible study. What happened?
That's good. And I've completely forgotten about that. It's been years since I've been to Sunday school.
Remember that? You read one chapter and then the next person. Anyway.
Yep. The people that didn't read well, it's like, oh, this is never going to end. Yeah.
You wanted God to smite him. No.
Yeah, exactly. God, please make him read faster.
I was there for a reason because I was mortal. No, I got to say something to Rob, though. Like, Jesus will forgive you many times, but the internet is not as forgiving, so don't flounce. You can leave once, maybe twice, but if you leave, do it because you want to leave. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody under your skin and just hang in there because you do have a lot of supporters and it's great what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm one of them. You've heard me mention many times that because people have asked me, it's like, why don't you really go down the religious path more? And I say, no, I don't have to. Rob Skiba's got that whole thing covered, like a circus tent covered. He was just rolling with it for a long time. And I keep forgetting because, I was never married, never had kids. And I was you've seen me, I've gotten very little resistance on my side. But other people have gotten heavy resistance. Right. Look at what happened to, the Morgile, just recently, he got put through a meat grinder. And so I take it, I take it for granted. It's like, well, the movement has been going on, fairly well. And again, there's been no magic bullet. No physicist has come out and says, okay, here's how we know. You guys can all shut up now. But for guys like Rob that put himself out there, not only from a scientific standpoint, from a religious standpoint, he's getting hit. He's getting hit with both barrels. And don't quit, man. Don't do it. It's don't let this. Yeah, especially from jerks, because the people that hate this thing, again, I love the arguments that come at us because it's always that first thing. It was like, you're dumb, you're a stupid head, so's your mom, that sort of stuff. It's really, really childish, and again, a knee-jerk response. So, anyway,
did the Bible ever say that the Earth was round?
No,
anywhere.
Well, there's a couple places you could interpret it, but he went over, with a fine-tooth comb every chapter and verse.
Right.
And I've been contacted from just about every one of the major religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. They've all mentioned, in great detail. And of course, lots of people will mention the Book of Enoch to me as well. Right. It's a great read if anybody wants to look at it. I mean, it is basically the blueprint for what's above this place. If you want to, and I know the book wasn't canonized, and some people will say, well, if it wasn't canonized, you can't really look at it. It's like, really? Because, the Catholic, the Roman Empire was basically a publishing house at the end.
I was going to say, people will bring up the Council of Nicaea, and they'll say, oh, words were, misinterpreted, and it's been rewritten a million times, and all the way down the line. Yeah. But having something out of context a little bit is understood. It's like the telephone game, right?
Yeah.
But whole passages, like there's no way of making a mistake between saying the world is flat and the world is round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't go that far off in the language barrier.
Absolutely. And there are many, many references to in the King James about how the world is immovable. It is fixed. It cannot be moved again and again and again and again. And that is very specific. So you can talk about the shape all you want, but why would you be so repetitive about the earth not moving, in any way, shape, or form? It's not like it says, oh yeah, it moves through the sky, but it doesn't rotate. Oh, maybe it rotates, but it doesn't do this. I was like, no, it's like, look, this thing's like nailed down to a table. It's not moving. So, but anyway. Oh yeah. By the way, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You go.
Let me plug the number one more time.
Yeah.
For Vimmer, we're taking callers, and this number is not going to change from week to week. If I'm doing an interview if I'm interviewing somebody, I probably won't take callers, and so I'll just ignore you. But the number will still ring, believe it or not. You can leave a voicemail if you want. Don't leave a voicemail though. I'd expect us to call you back on the show. You got to get us live. So you just got to stand in line. Number to call us is 720-897-6111. 720-897-6111. And remember, that's just a Colorado number. That is not in any way associated with the government, as far as you know. Anyway, go ahead. What you got?
No, I was driving down to the beach this afternoon. It was around, I want to say 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
The moon was up in the sky, coming up over the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. So I'm right here near the ocean. Yeah. And I'd say if I stretch out my arm, it was at about 45 degrees from the horizon. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, here's the weird thing. The straight line through the middle of it, I guess the shadow line, was tilted, running from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And the sun was over to my right behind me, about the same angle, 45 degrees at that time of day. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out, when I'm looking at the two, how come the face of the moon is not lit more past that edge, past that straight line through the middle?
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at them both in the sky, and I'm like, all right. So if the Earth is actually, because if the Earth is curved, then shouldn't it cast a curved shadow? Or if it's flat, then it's catching the edge. But it couldn't be catching the edge because the sun was still up in the sky with the moon. But technically, the sun is supposed to be further out than the moon, but yet it's illuminating the whole Earth. So why isn't it illuminating the whole face of the moon? I was just like looking at it different. Yeah. Since that talk with Jeffrey. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't even look at the damn sky anymore.
I know. Neither can I. Neither can I, man. You're absolutely right. And I've got to bring up. Well, no. I'm having real perception issues, and one of these days I've had people bugging me. You're going to release Clue 12. It's not a big secret. It's called Realize. You were the one that titled it, but it's spelled differently. Instead of REALIZE, it is real and then space eyes, and it's really about perception and how we are. We're not only we in some sort of enclosed system, and I'll kind of tie it to Jeffrey's thing in a second. But we seem to be genetically designed to be here, meaning we, not only were we being tricked, we were built to be tricked.
Well, did you ever try? I mean, I'm a photographer, so you ever try casting shadows onto a wall from a distance?
Yeah.
And let alone make it a strong shadow?
Yeah.
Okay. Now try to do it not just on a flat wall where you can, like, if you take a big box or something, you can actually get the shadow of that box, and then based on the distance of it from the light, you can get it more darker and sharp versus blurry and blown out, right?
Yeah.
But how do you get a straight line on a little circle that's your target, right? And you're constantly hitting it.
Yep.
I'm like, I got to like set this up now in my studio or something and say, how the hell I got to practice this now. Yeah. It's bugging the hell out of me.
I went to you're absolutely right. People, not just you. There's a lot of people. I get a lot of emails about it, where people are looking at the sun and the moon and the sky differently now. Everyone's staring up at it, and they're squinting, and they're saying, what exactly am I seeing?
But wait, to scale, I should be able to do this, right?
Should be.
If I just reduce everything by 1,000 or whatever, so 93 million, I'm going by the technical numbers that we've been told.
Yeah.
93 million miles, so I have a 30 by 30 studio, right?
Yeah.
I'll take an actual globe that I can get in any classroom. I'll steal one. Okay. I'll liberate one. I won't steal.
There you go.
And then I'll put it. Then I'll put a little moon. I'll make it out of Lego or something. I'll make it out of paper mache.
Yeah.
And then I'll put the sun way across in the corner of the room. And I should be able to do the same thing to scale. And if I can't cast a damn shadow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it that simple, or am I like missing something?
No. Give it a try. See what happens. Let me know. And then then film it.
But I should be able to move the sun. Here's the thing: if I can do it once from a fixed position, that would be amazing. That's going to take a while to set up, right?
Yeah.
But if I can do it constantly, meaning I can move the moon and the sun after that constantly, I should always be able to emulate or get that straight shadow.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And you're right. There's and people remember what I said. How this is it turned into some sort of conceptual gold rush, where everybody, on the other side, you got people looking for the magic bullet. They're trying to figure out how to debunk this thing, and they can't do it. But on the pro side, people like you, everyone's trying to come up with the one concept which everybody can get their head around. In fact, somebody said I should actually start coining the term "get your head around it," because I say it all the time. But it's true. It's like, put it on a T-shirt. Get your head around it. Flat Earth. But everyone's looking for that one concept that everybody can get. The curvature is tricky, gravity, Coriolis effect. All the fun stuff, the moonlight, the high altitude weather balloons. Those are all great things. But everyone's trying to find that new angle. Like the guy from Great Britain that does this stuff with his kitchen stuff, or even Jeffrey. Where he was doing. Did you watch his video? That big long thing where he was doing the salad bowl with the light.
Oh yeah,
the lighter, trying to show the sundogs. I mean, for those of you who haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the last show I did with Jeffrey, which was Strange World 17. Jeffrey Grupp, who came out of retirement, and he's not sleeping. This is all he does now. He's trying to figure out. He's got a big brain. He's got a big academia in his background. And he's been trying to figure out a way. He's been looking for the gold rush, trying to figure out there's a test that he can throw at people, basically throw at a physicist and say, okay, tell me I'm wrong. And so far he's been, the sundog thing he did was fantastic.
I told you this though. I think I mentioned this on air. Oh. The only thing I can think of at the top of my head is if the moon is actually concave. So like a bowl, like you're facing a bowl.
Yeah.
So that no matter where you hit it from the side, right, that edge of the concaveness is going to create the straight edge shadow.
Oh, right.
Sinking into it.
Yeah,
So if you come full around to the front, you're going to have a full moon. If you go anywhere to the side of it, you're going to get that straight edge of the bowl, creating a straight edge, because that curve now becomes straight as it goes into the bowl. Is that right?
Yeah, and you've told me that concept before, and I like it. I think it's a cool little concept. So here's the great thing, the wonderful thing I like about the whole flat Earth movement is right now there is no wrong answer. That's the great thing, because everybody is it's like a really big skirmish line on our side, where there's people dressed up in funky uniforms and people are carrying all sorts of weird flags, and everyone's running forward. And on the other side is this really narrow group of debunkers and the physicists, and some of them will turn and join our ranks on top of it. But until what you're talking about there, that's the great thing about this. I don't hate that idea. Eric has been saying that, the moon has been 2D, but in your case it's 3D, but it's concave, which plays into our friends' theories, which I don't know if you want to go down that road very much.
Well, no, I mean, in this instance, I would accept just for this one purpose. For the shadow.
Yeah. It's a cool idea. I like it. I totally dig it. Where was I going with this?
I'm sorry. I started down this road.
No, it's okay. Oh, yeah, the phone number. Feel free. Again, everyone wants to call. Hopefully I'm not doing anything wrong on my side where people are calling in, they can't get through. If people are calling in, they can't get through, please email me and I will look at my email box saying, your number's not going anywhere. Because after we hung up with Mike, and thank you for Mike for being the first caller, I haven't seen my screen blink, but that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. Number to call is 720-897-6111. That's 720-897-6111. We have a few minutes till break. In fact, let me check my email real quick, because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Live call-ins, yay. People are emailing. You're emailing the questions? Okay, hang on. So can you explain what that Star Trek interview was about? What was wrong with that guy's voice?
Oh yeah, that was
all right.
An interesting interview.
All right, thank you for pulling back and saying it was interesting. Okay, I did interview 30, and he was really specific about doing interview 30 if he could. That was DJ Grom from a Star Trek fan site And I'm not kidding you when I say Star Trek fan site. I mean, the hoops I had to jump through to do that interview was impressive. I had to download Star Trek the game, the MMORPG. That took a while. Had to patch it because I had to go in game. I had to go. Basically, he's been doing this show for 5 years, and he does it from Quark's bar from Deep Space Nine. If you followed anything from Star Trek, from Deep Space Nine, an actual replica of. So I was on the Deep Space Nine station in the game, Quark's bar, and he was there. This Ferengi. If you guys know what Ferengis look like, giant ears, giant nose, funny voice, and he actually puts in fake teeth and does the interview.
Whoa.
So he does it, he kind of sounds like a cross between the guy from, you remember Men in Black, the alien when he got inside the Edgar suit,
yeah.
So it's like, what was that line he used? Compared to you, I'm the top of the evolutionary ladder. One of those things. So he kind of talked like that, but what he did was, and so I'm in the game doing this interview, and on top of that, he opens with a song. And I took that out. If you guys want to hear the full-blown thing, it's on YouTube. You can listen to it. He actually does What a Wonderful World. You know that song? Wonderful world. He does that as a Ferengi. So I cut that part out. And then they did this hoedown DJ Grom thing at the end. So I cut the last 3 minutes of that out. But then he put in post, he put in the background music for the famous background fight scene music for Star Trek the original. Da 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 da, and he just had that looping throughout the entire interview.
That was a bit much.
Yeah, but I didn't hear that. So people are going, "How in the world you did the interview?" I go, that music wasn't even there. He added that in post. So I know, it wasn't my. But again, it was a Star Trek fan site. It was kind of cool. You know what? I'm gonna take it. He's been doing it for 5 years. I'm gonna give the guy credit for doing it. So yes, that was the Star Trek interview. And look, I've done smaller shows. I've done shows that definitely haven't gone on for 5 years like that guy. He's been broadcasting out of a virtual bar, virtual Deep Space Nine bar for 5 years.
Yeah, and I love and appreciate creativity like that, but you have to listen to it from the viewer's point of view or the listener.
Yeah.
And after a while, like that music, depending on if the levels are attenuated for the person to speak over, it becomes too much.
Yeah. Ooh, I got a guy that already emailed me and wants the prepper guide. So fantastic. Glad you're listening. Before we go to break, which is in a minute and a half.
I had a question real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sure.
When I get my own ship to steer next Thursday, does that mean I'm able to get cookies or no?
Well, dude, you already said you won't eat the cookies. Well, no, you will eat the cookies.
I won't eat the cookies.
Why won't you?
Oh, wait, are they store-bought or are they homemade?
Most of them are store-bought.
Oh, that I'll eat, okay.
You were the only guy, actually, that sent me homemade cookies. In an unmarked box. I hope you guys know what he did. I didn't even know who this guy was, and he actually sent me homemade chocolate chip cookies. And
right.
Dusted with some sort of weird white powder. It smelled kind of menacing-y. I didn't know what it was, but I ate them. And after I woke up about 4 hours later.
Wait, white powder?
Yeah, I was doing the whole,
I must have dehydrated on the way out.
You're so bad. But no, you were the only one. Everybody else has sent me store-bought cookies, which is good because, again, my relatives keep telling me. It's like, don't eat the cookies and don't eat the jerky. No, I've eaten everything that has come my way because I trust people.
Apples with pins and razors.
It's all about love and harmony.
Nah, that's good.
Togetherness and trust. We'll be back.
We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. We're in segment 3, and I've got Jonathan with me. How's it going out there in Jersey, man?
Good, man. This espresso, not espresso, is working. I have such a pet peeve about that word. Oh, my God.
Oh, a lot of people still say espresso.
My father's 70 years old, and he still says it. And I'm like, what kind of Portuguese are you? Espresso.
Well, people have, look, I've heard people, and I'm up in the Northwest, we drink a lot of coffee. I don't. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. But that's just because I drink tea.
If you're from anywhere outside the tri-state area, I got no gripes with that. But when you're from around this area, I mean, you should know better. I got one for you. Jimmy's or Sprinkles?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Jimmy's or Sprinkles?
I've never even heard of Jimmy's.
Now, our East Coast listeners might know that one. I'll wait if anybody calls in on that.
Jimmy's or Sprinkles, that's great. I had somebody who was I went to a family thing yesterday, and my uncle was putting mayonnaise on a hot dog.
Oh,
I know.
Sacrilege.
I know, and I know, but my mom was putting on ketchup.
Oh, jeez.
And I didn't get the joke because remember, I'm West Coast. So remember that Clint Eastwood movie, one of the early Dirty Harry ones, where that famous line where he goes, you know what really disgusts me? He goes, is you putting ketchup on those hot dogs. Nobody puts ketchup on hot dogs, right? And I did not know what he was talking about. I was going, what are you talking about? Sometimes that's the only thing I put on it. And I didn't know it was an East Coast thing, that it's supposed to be mustard only.
Right.
It's mustard only if, where it's served. But I know out here in the West, we screw up with a lot of stuff.
I like mustard and kraut on one, and I like a mustard, chili, and onions on the other.
Nice.
I get 2 hot dogs.
Nice. All right. So I love hot dogs, and I don't eat enough of them. I should. I grew up though with Ballpark Franks. I love Ballpark Franks. I know people are going, no, you got to get something, high end from a deli.
Right.
But anyway, the number to call in. We go off on
we're on a Strange World, right? We have to talk about strange stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Number to call in if you guys want to talk, ask any questions. Again, this number is I know I should have probably warned people ahead of time, because they're probably out in the middle of nowhere and they're going, I can't call now. Number it's just a Colorado number. It's not toll free, but you should have an unlimited plan by now. Is 720-897-6111. That number again, 720-897-6111, and you'll go straight through to my machine, and I will deal with you from there. And just try to be nice.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Because all the listeners, I assume most of them or all of them are truth seekers, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they're listening here.
Yeah.
Truth Frequency Radio, no pun intended. But no, in seeking the truth,
yeah,
you're stuck with something like for example, hot dogs. You can have a crisis of conscience and know what's in the hot dogs and how it's made, right?
Oh, you mean like raccoon noses and stuff like that?
Well, whatever, yeah. Or unfortunately, how they maybe treat the pigs or what's actually put in the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Or you can understand from a health, why you should eat maybe organic stuff like we were mentioning earlier, as opposed to the chemical stuff. But all that stuff known, there's a part of me that even though I'm seeking the truth, I still believe we're in a simulation. So I'm like, if there's not meant to be hot dogs in this Sims 4 or Sims 5 reality that we're living in, then why the hell am I eating it? Why did they program that into the simulation?
Yeah.
Like if I was God, you wouldn't have the taste of strawberry. I would forget to program strawberries into the Matrix.
I think it's more of a team effort. I think but every once in a while you'll get those weird glitches. By the way, that reminds me of the you mentioned the hot dog stuff and where it comes from, and I keep thinking back to one of my favorite Simpsons lines, which is when Homer is giving, because Lisa wants to be a vegetarian. He goes, you're going to give up sausage, yeah, bacon, yeah, and he goes ham, and she goes, Dad, that's all from the same animal, and he goes, oh yeah, Lisa, some wonderful magical animal. Because most people don't know. Sorry.
Oh, wait. I got to tell you this funny thing.
What?
When my son was 5, he was eating, maybe 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
He was eating Chinese ribs, spare ribs.
Yeah.
So he says to me, he goes, Dad, where do ribs come from? I was like, that animal. He goes, which one? I was like, the one that you see in the grass, eating the grass. And I said, it makes that noise. It goes, beef. And he goes, you mean a cow? I was like, no, the beef animal.
Wow.
I had him go. I got to show you the video. I actually got it on video.
That's great.
So then he starts eating again, and he says, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's okay because hamburgers come from cow." And as he starts taking the next bite, he's like, "Actually, those are from dog." And he starts spitting.
Oh, you're mean. You do mean things.
Well, no. You know what it is? I talk with him, and I want him to question. I always tell him, respect your mom, respect me, but I want you to question everything. Don't be afraid to question everything.
Yeah, and he should.
Yeah, he does.
You should question everything, which is why, and we'll circle back to this, which is why this movement. And by the way, I was really, when I was reading Rob's stuff, I thought that paragraph was pretty profound. In that he was saying, look, and I've mentioned this, but not quite as well as he put it, which was, look, we're on the right track because of the resistance, because of the pushback that we're getting, the people that come back. Ooh, we got a call. You ready? Here we go. You're on. Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, hi, Mark. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Listen, I got my radio turned down already. Okay. I had one more question. I was kind of interrupted by the last break.
Yeah.
So no one else was calling. I figured I'd take the opportunity to run.
Mike, yeah, go ahead, Mike. What do you got?
Okay, listen to this. Now, a couple of years ago, I noticed this. Just bear with me, because it's like telling somebody, the earth is flat. I used to get looks like that until they actually took a look up at the moon.
Yeah.
And their jaws dropped.
Yeah.
Now, we're told, trust your senses, what you see and everything. But now, if you look up at the crescent moon, like from the half moon, then it starts the waning phase, right? If you look at the two points of the crescent moon, you'll notice without a telescope, because when you put a telescope on it, it magnifies the light, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see what you're going to see. Yep. And I went to an ophthalmologist or an optometrist, and they told me, no, if you close one of your eyes and you look and you see the same thing, it can't be double vision. Because I tried, holding one eye closed and the other one, and you see the same phenomena on the moon. But you don't see it as soon as you fix a telescope on it, you don't see the same effect. But I guarantee you look up at the moon in the crescent phase, right?
Uh-huh.
And look at the end, which should be just a point on each end. It looks like crab claws. And okay, you look at the philosophy of astrology. Mm-hmm. They tag the moon related to the crab, the constellation of the crab. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I'm wondering, maybe that's how they got the ancients got the term the crab along with the constellation, because it looks like two little crab claws on each end of the moon. And if you close one eye and then try the other one, you see the same thing. And I told this to somebody in their 80s, and they're like, "Oh, come on, that's impossible." And I pointed up to the moon, and they looked, and they saw it.
Interesting.
So, but if you have to. And I've called people in different parts of the country, and and they've seen the same thing.
Interesting.
So I just wanted to. That's an easy experiment. Any of the listeners, and you can try. I mean, You don't even need a telescope, but look at it, and come to your own conclusion. I have my own theory, but there's not enough time on the show for that.
No.
Wait. Can you wait? So. With the naked eye, you cover one eye, or you close one eye?
Yeah, no, you can look with both eyes. If you look at the crescent moon,
okay,
you'll see, and from like the half moon on the waning phase, which it's getting smaller, you'll see as it gets more to the crescent, look at the points, the points of the moon, okay, and you'll see it looks like two little crab pinches. It isn't just one point. You have to look. You don't have to look that close. But also, not only the eclipses of the moon, as far as Eastern astrology goes, and Vedic philosophy, there's a Rahu and a Ketu that are supposed to be two dark orbs. Rahu is when the moon looks like it's being swallowed, then the moon is in the Rahu phase. When it looks like the moon is being kind of punched out, going more and more crescent, it doesn't look like it's being swallowed. That's when the moon is in Ketu phase, Ketu. So there's supposed to be two dark orbs out there. I've only heard one of the other flat Earth people mention Rahu,
okay,
but there are actually two.
Wow.
And I think you told me you received that one email about that film from Australia with the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. But take a look, and, take a look for yourself. Look at the crescent moon, and you'll see that, the two little points on the end instead of just one.
Cool. Thanks very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy.
Bye-bye,
Keep
guys.
up the good.
Okay.
Bye.
So...
He's officially our best caller right now.
Yeah, he is. He's our best caller. Oh, by the way, I've got to mention, because an email came in as well. Dude, you have to open up comments for the Star Trek interview. That guy was hilarious. He made a video rant dissecting the Art Bell Morgile debate last week. I'm going to rename my YouTube channel shortly when I upload the videos. Perhaps at that time I could get a mention on the next Friendship show. Well, this one isn't called Friendship. It's called, I think, just Flat Earth Thoughts or Flat Earth Review or whatever. But thanks from Phil. I'm going to mention his name. His name's Phil Alterman. Seems like a good guy. Yeah, I absolutely will mention it. Get your channel up. Send me a link. And I hope you're listening right now. Which reminds me, one quick more post plug for the Skype phone number. 720-897-6111. That's 720-897-6111, and that's gonna be the number. I've got that number for another year, so I can't wait to see who calls up. And if you guys are ready for the next show, that's probably where we're gonna get crushed. Because people are gonna they're gonna write it down, and we're gonna get some people calling that we're waiting for.
Why couldn't you get a number that was easier to remember, like 8675309?
Wow, Tommy Two-Tone, right?
Yeah.
8675. Well, yeah, because of him, they had to change the rules.
Yeah,
because he didn't put the area code, and so anyone that had that number 8675309. We should keep saying that 86758. Got your number. Yeah, there's a song. In fact, isn't that what the song's called?
8675309.
Yeah, and so it didn't matter what area code it was, 303, 212, 509. It makes no difference. It was all people were getting called all over the states, and that's a real number.
Yeah,
and so people were suing, and it wasn't fun. So I might as well ask you again, because we still have time before the break. You're still in favor of me turning on comments, even though I said in the first thing I wouldn't do it.
Well, no, I say it because at this point,
why not?
Enough people have come up, and not everybody's going to go through the trouble of making their own videos, and yet they're still going to want to make comments.
All right.
And unfortunately, in some of the forums that are out there on the Flat Earth, those comments aren't always welcomed, and they're sometimes, like I said, banned. I think I mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or moderated too heavily. And if they're in favor of you, then more so, you'll be kicked out completely at a certain group.
Yeah, and my numbers will go up. I know that. A lot of people, they ask me, it's like, oh, have you noticed your numbers have been suppressed? I was like, well, one of the things I did deliberately was I turned off comments.
Right.
Because if people keep going back to make comments and they let the video run for any length of time, it's going to keep counting as things are going to start ticking up. So if I can figure out, because what I don't want to do, because I got to make sure from a technical standpoint I don't screw this up. I don't want to turn on all, what is it at this point, 50 videos, 40 videos, and make it to where I get alerts on every time anybody comments on any video.
I think you can turn off alerts.
I think I can turn off alerts. So once I turn that off, it'll be fine. I still get alerts for
Flat Earth Friends?
Flat Earth Friendship. Yeah, the first Flat Earth Friendship one. I still get alerts from that just to see. And I got to admit, people were pretty much on their best behavior. I'm not saying, it's like, look, you want to come in and hate, it's your karma. It's your conscience. That's what I'm really trying to tell people. It's like, look, if I do this, if I go out there and do this, and please email me if you want me to turn on comments. Some people have said, well, I'm so glad you didn't. But if I turn on comments, it's on your heads. So if you come in there...
You're not going to sit there and moderate it. I mean...
No, I'm not going to moderate. I'm not. You guys want to tear each other apart? Fine, tear each other apart. I am not going to sit there and try to break up fights. There's too many videos for that, and I'm not going to retroactively go back and do that.
But you know what? There's always going to be trolls. There's always going to be shills. There's always going to be flakes.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there's always going to be intelligent people, and I think everybody is intelligent in their own way. And just in asking the question is what matters most, and it starts dialogue.
Yeah, I agree. What I didn't want to happen was, and maybe I can avoid it, because the Flat Earth Friendship video was overwhelmingly positive, And most of the people, I mean, there wasn't a negative comment for quite some time. I was just worried that it's like I put up the video and the first thing, the first 3 comments was like, "You suck, you shill bastard," or something like that. And it's like, oh, come on, guys, the shill thing, seriously. Before we go to break, by the way, are you eating or drinking anything fun? Or are you still doing coffee? No. I got to mention the Eric and Matt thing that's been going on recently. I've got to mention it because so many people sent me emails. I learn stuff from people's emails before I even get a chance to go into YouTube or any of the forums or anything like that. I mean, people send me, it's like, "Did you hear what happened?" It's like, no. And then I go to the video. The video's been posted like 28 minutes ago. And so, like, people are just pouring over this stuff. And it's great. But the thing that happened, and I have to mention it because I've got an opinion on it, was that Eric and Matt, Eric Dubé and Matt Boylan, have been going toe to toe for a while now, and they're two of the big guys, big players in this thing. And Matt came out and did that said that Eric was anti-Semitic, and then Eric released a 4-hour video about how he thinks that that Adolf Hitler is the greatest guy in the world.
Where's the Star Trek music?
Like just somebody just splice in my last interview, my Star Trek fan site, into what I'm saying now, because we could overlay it, but and then Eric comes back. Then Eric comes back, and a girl had sent him a video that she had made. Basically, Matt had moved in with this girl and her young son. I can't remember. It was an infant, I think 1-year-old. And he stayed there like for a month, and things ended badly. And so as she was kicking him out, maybe to protect herself, who knows, she recorded the entire conversation of when she was kicking him out. Oh. And what Jeranism said is, he's going, that's not really a fair conversation, because since she's the one that's doing the recording secretly, she's going to play the victim no matter what. She's not going to go off on a jag. She's going to be on her best behavior and make him look even worse than he already was acting.
Right, you can egg somebody on, or who knows what preceded the conversation.
Exactly, that didn't go well. And I've got to throw this in there, why he hasn't put this on his channel yet. But you guys remember how I kept saying that Matt has never done interviews? He actually did an interview in her garage. The same people that interviewed me, I think it was Freedom Slips Radio. How they contacted him or who contacted who, I have no idea, but they interviewed him and then they put up an edited version of it online. Matt actually did a radio interview. So, and it was fairly well done. I mean, he was talking 99% of the time, and I think they just let him roll with it. But the point is that when he moved out of that place where he did the interview, he got really mad, and I don't know if he was, how sober he was, doesn't really matter. But he was, going off on a rant. Nobody likes to get kicked out. If he was couch surfing or whatever they call it, he didn't like to be kicked out. And she released. The point was, once she recorded it, she sent it to Eric or somebody in his camp. Eric got a hold of it, diced it up, chopped it up the way he wanted, put it out there, and it made Matt look really bad. So now I'm going, okay, now what's going to happen? What's Matt going to come back with? And so it's like, why I'm saying this is like, look, we've talked about this before. Look, the infighting has got to stop. You guys are getting to the point now where it's gone beyond. It's not just childish. It's being really counterproductive. Don't start taking these big body blows, throwing these big punches at each other, because it's silly. Eric took a cheap shot. He didn't have to release that video. Everyone's got their moments. I'm sure you go off on rants, after a fifth of Jägermeister or whatever you drink out there. And,
espresso and Zambuca.
There you go. That's horrible. What is Zambuca?
I don't know. It tastes like licorice.
Oh yeah,
you got to have it with the coffee beans in it.
Ugh, see, I don't like black licorice. But the point was, Eric didn't have to put that thing out there. He had already made his point. Was like, okay, fine. You want to call me anti-Semitic? Fine, I'm anti-Semitic. I'm proud of it. Here's my 4-hour video of how much I what I feel. But But now Matt's going to have to respond with something. I don't know what he's going to do, and I'm staying out of it. I'm not going to. In fact, somebody emailed me and said, you and Jaron, are you guys in trouble? We haven't been seeing you too much together. And it's like Jaron's writing me. It's like, dude, are we totally okay? Going, yeah. We're totally fine.
By the way, if Eric and Matt are listening, if you guys want to settle the score, you do it like men. Here's how we're going to do it. It's not going to be any of this Beyond Thunderdome bull crap, okay? 2 minutes or 1 man leave. That's for like Lord Stephen Christ's concave Earth stuff. No, you guys are going to fight it out at Prince Volton's place on that floating flat platform with the spikes because we're all flat earthers here.
Nice. It's good. It's really good. That's good. If I had more time in post, then I absolutely would have added the Star Trek music.
No, think about it. I was thinking about that. I was like 2 minutes or 1 man leave. I was like, wait a minute, that's a concave Earth reference.
Yeah. It's like, look, people. Oh, okay, I'll give them the silver lining version of it. It's like, look, people are looking at you for some sort of guidance, some sort of leadership. I know Matt's going to say it's a leaderless movement. We all know that's not true, Matt. It's not what you want. People are looking at you guys for some assistance, some it's like pointing people in the right direction or at least giving them some ideas.
This is a leaderless movement, but I came up with it first.
Yeah. I know, and it's silly, and I'm not going to get into the fight. It's like, look, nobody alive that's alive today invented flat Earth. It's an old concept. It is the oldest conspiracy. All we're doing is giving structure to it that wasn't there before. Matt was out there first doing it, telling people when nobody was listening. Eric chimed in, I chimed in, and now there's a whole bunch of people, which we'll talk in the last segment. We got.
And by the way, I kid around a lot, and I call out people like Lord Stephen. Yeah. Truth be told, I am open, again, to any idea or theory that people have taken the time, like yourself, to research and formulate and hypothesize and whatever. Because at this point, this friggin' life thing that we're in and of itself, and no matter which paradigm, what belief system you believe in, does not make any friggin' sense.
Agreed.
Even in the afterlife, wherever the hell you go after this.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you reincarnate, what do you do? Just have more kids and keep going to Costco and watch more TV? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do? And then when you die, what do you do? Do you just stand around, mulling around, like looking at the sky? Like, what do you do at that point?
Good point.
This whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yep.
No matter what. It's like...
everybody's looking for an answer. Everybody wants to know why we're here. It's the old adage, and which is why I'm trying to tie Flat Earth into it. It's like, look, you want the answers? Here's a good first step. And that is, you want to know where you are? Here's the boundaries of it. And for, again, you want to talk about the infinite plane? Fine. There's still some boundary out there somewhere, unless you say it's truly infinite, but people can't get their head around that. We got 3 minutes of the break. I want to mention real quick, though, one other thing, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about videos and what people are making, some really cool stuff. Kind of a little minimal Flat Earth friendship thing. But remember when I was talking to you about the John B. Wells interview?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a thing, and John B. Wells, I'm sorry, he was
Coast to Coast. Was it something in the desert, or he did Saturday nights on Coast to Coast at one time?
But he was on that. That was.
I remember. Thing. Yeah, he's got a set of pipes on him. He's
a but good voice, and he actually sounds like an ex-agent. To be honest, he sounds like the Smoking Man, like actually a better version of the Smoking Man. If the Smoking Man from X-Files had this guy's voice, it would have been great. But they interview him, and they're in about 10, 15 minutes. It's on YouTube. You guys can look it up. It was real recent. They asked him what he thought about Flat Earth. Kind of like they did with Kent Hovind, and immediately, without even batting, that's ridiculous. That's just silly. And to the point, and he added that he said, look, he goes, it's just a psyop to make conspiracy people look crazy. And I'm going, no, that is not, that label's already there. You don't have to, you don't need any help for that label. So again, but it's in his head, no different than Kent or any of the other big players, or Art Bell. It's if you talk about it enough, that's the best thing about this. If the topic comes up enough, people are going to pay attention, because sooner or later they're going to say, why, but you see videos on this, why are people talking about this? So,
well, I'll be honest with you. I wrote to him once or twice over the past few months, and I said, you got to have this guy Mark on, just because I know he'll really do an excellent interview, and he'll ask the right questions, and he'll look at it objectively and analyze. He's just I think he's a great radio presenter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to hear him. And again, I was, people say, "Were you upset that he said that? It's ridiculous." I was going, "Are you kidding?" That is the response I expect from people.
Yeah.
I want them. If you do, again, I wasn't kidding when I said this. If you don't laugh at this, if you don't roll your eyes, if you don't just turn around and say this thing is start ridiculing it, then there is something wrong with you, because it is the greatest.
And you're speaking about me indirectly, directly again.
Exactly. Hey, we gotta go, but we'll be back for one more segment. So
cool.
The Kev Baker Show with Kev and the crew, Monday through Thursday on Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to the last segment in Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm with Jonathan, yet once again. And we're taking calls tonight. Oh yeah, by the way, I have to mention every other time, that little riff at the end there, I love that one. That's from a guy I used to work with back in the video game days, from Germany. His name was Volker Tripp. He makes a lot of techno music, so really cool guy. What?
No, I was just thinking of sayings I'm going to start using on the show.
Oh, you're going to use some phrases, some catchphrases?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good. So we kind of ended where we were talking about the John B. Wells interview, and I've got to mention, I'm going to throw out some before we get into videos and stuff. Yeah, I'd love to be interviewed by John B. Wells. But again, don't be upset, and this kind of ties into the Rob Skiba thing. Look, everyone is going to brace against this, and the bigger they are, the harder they're going to brace against. I feel bad, every once in a while, you'll get a debunker coming in with 15, 20,000 followers from YouTube, and you got to realize they're under a lot of pressure because if they flip to the other side, they're going to lose people. They're going to lose people regardless. So the ratings are going to get hammered if they go after Flat Earth, but if they don't go after Flat Earth, they're going to get some of their followers are just going to walk out on them because they think it's ridiculous. You have to let this thing soak in with people. So don't feel bad if you're talking. I get these emails and phone calls all the time from people who will say, "Look, I'm trying to convince my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my uncle, whatever. I'm trying to convince them, and I'd like, I can't get through that initial response." I'm just like, "Look, you can't convince people in an hour." You try to do this in 15 minutes. It is really, it's almost an impossible task. 2 hours, maybe if they've had a lot to drink, or smoke, or both. But most people take several days, and some take several weeks. You just got to let it rattle around their head.
What do you mean, the aha moment?
Yeah, exactly. Where all of a sudden it clicks, and it's like, wait, where they can't prove the globe. That's the tough part. It's like, look,
you know what it's like. Remember at the end of the movie Dark City?
Yeah.
When all his memories come flooding back all at once, all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's like there's a deconstruct of like them in the classroom looking at a globe, them hearing that the astronauts landed on the moon, like all these things come flooding in over them and saying, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of questions that you go down that path all of a sudden.
Because you have to give up a lot, and that's the part that because you're giving up a big chunk of your reality. And maybe giving up's the wrong word. You're changing it, and lots of people have so much on their plate anyway. And I've heard this from a lot of people. It's like, look, in fact, I had a girl I was talking with yesterday. She was brought in on a conference call by this other guy who's completely on board, and you could tell she had so much on her plate she didn't want to add this to it. It was just too much. It was so much of a weight on the scale that she's like, you know what, I'm not even gonna deal with it right now. And so
here's one for you. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, because reality is what it is. It's BS, right? And that's, again, my show, Perceptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which airs Thursday. You might as well plug it.
Yeah. Thursday will be the premiere show. What did it say? 12 midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. on Pacific Coast time. It'll be a 2-hour show. Right on. But here's the thing. All right, now, do you wear sunglasses?
Rarely.
Okay.
But go ahead.
But I wear them. I always get polarized lenses.
Okay.
And if you try to look at a smartphone, or if you looked at certain computer monitors with them on, you can't see that screen at all. It looks black.
Okay.
But if you take the glasses and you turn them 90 degrees, all of a sudden you could see it. Right? And it's all about wavelength.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing. Okay. Now I'm thinking to myself, what if the sun, because we're humans and we're designed a certain way, right? Or maybe genetically manipulated a certain way.
Yeah.
What if the frequency of light itself off the sun or even off the moon is such that we can't see certain things with our naked eye? So like if you ever try to look at a pond when you're taking a photo and there's that glare, as soon as you use a polarized lens, you can see the fish in the pond clearly.
Ooh.
What if even the light that we're looking with, because remember, we don't actually see things. What we see is the refraction of light off of objects.
Yeah.
So what if we're actually not even seeing we only see in a limited light spectrum also. So what if that whole thing is a freaking lie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we can't even trust our own eyes is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, again, and, I've got to release Clue 12 just so people can understand what we're dealing with here. Because Clue 12 really goes over to the power of illusion, which is, look, you think you see what you see with your own eyes. Lots of people say, unless I see it with my own eyes, I don't believe it.
Right.
Well, what if that's not it? What if you can't even trust that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Seeing is not believing.
No, it's not. Not anymore. No. It's not. Back in the old days, yeah, you could probably pull it off, but we've gotten to a technology standpoint now where, yeah, I have no doubt that whoever made this place, all they'd have to do is change just the smallest setting in the sky and everything changes.
And not just that, there's so many. My friend's a close-up magician, so he does all this close-up magic. It'll blow your mind. I mean, he's won awards and everything. We used to go to Vegas and LA and we do crazy stuff, and it's so much fun. Yeah. Even though I've seen the trick a million times and know how it works, but to me, it's still fascinating to see the awe. And this is like right in front of people's faces.
Yeah.
But like even something simple with like, it's a picture of a gray bar, and I want to put these kind of things up on my site for the opening show so people can have a reference of where I'm coming from.
Okay.
And what they do is they simply take a piece of white gradient and they pull it off the screen. It's an animated thing.
Yeah.
And so it goes from white to black. And all of a sudden that same gray bar, whatever, it's like it shifts its color tonality. Like you think it's gradient in itself from white to black. Like you think but it's actually the same shade of gray. And it's just the difference of the background, the contrast in it's like, holy crap. Like I can't trust anything.
Yeah.
And you had some examples, the ones with the straight lines and the lines look diagonal. They look zigzag because of the checkerboard pattern.
I've got I think 5 or 6 examples in the Clue, which eventually will come out. Like a couple of them, you had something.
Don't give it away. Yeah, don't give it away because if you say them, then they might go look for them.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Don't mention.
But the point is, we fall for it. We fall for it so easily. And street magicians. Oh yeah, they can totally mess with you. And those are simple, parlor tricks. Imagine if you had technology behind you, if you really could mess with somebody's mind, tap it or even tap into, to your brain itself.
Yeah, and I wonder how many misdirects are around us on a daily basis. Even things that we don't see in the patterns, like because I believe every pattern, even our alphabet, right?
Yeah.
It's a glyph. It's something. Now we recognize, let's say, letters A through Z as the English. Okay, I know what ABC looks like, but we could look at something in Arabic or some other language. So I don't know what the hell that is. It's a scribble, but it's not to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Yet this is still a glyph or a pattern or something that means something to somebody. So what if there's something more to it? What if there's even like magical glyphs or energetic glyphs or whatever?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
it's not for naught.
No, and people, what you've been talking about has been talked about in fantasy and science fiction for years, and that is, are there cheat codes for the world? And some people say, that's part of what everybody's looking for in magic. In the programming world, we call it cheat codes. A series of letters and numbers that are so random that they'd never be said or written down in real life. But if you can find them for any particular game, if they're built into it, you can do anything you want. And one of the first things they do at the top of just about every list of cheat codes is the God mode.
Wait.
What?
Well, you just brought up a good point. This is so great. Now you're doing it to me. I was just going to say, nobody knows the real name of God. Because what happens when when you're like in a mall and like let's say you and I were hanging out, or if I'm hanging out with my son, if I yell his name, he'll distinctly know my name without looking, right? You recognize your mom's name, voice.
Yeah.
Okay, right, all right. So if you knew the name of God, the true name, you'd be able to command God to even look in your direction like a dog does, or anybody would look in a crowd. Ooh. Like, who are you to have that kind of power over God?
Yeah, or have any influence at all? Or,
and that's at that exact moment. For that moment, when somebody calls your name, and you know what's weird? Say there's a lot of Marks in a room, in a bar, but if somebody yells Mark and they put their hand to their mouth and they're like, "Hey, Mark," and it's like in your direction, isn't it funny how it almost hits the person? Like that sound goes right to their head, and nobody else in the room might look whose name is Mark.
Excellent.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but they kind of own you for one split second. They own your energy. They own your attention. They have a connection to you.
Yeah, that's I had a running joke with a friend of mine, Eric, who was by far the finest computer game player I've ever met in my life. He won the Duke Nukem tournament and probably could have lit up the Doom tournament as well. But he was really big. Not only did he play very well, but he was always big on the cheat codes because he could find out more behind the scenes by getting the cheat codes. And I used to joke with him. I said, look, this is why, because he always asked, he'd hunt, he'd scour the internet for codes. And it's like, I go, this is why the cheat codes are never going to be released for this world. And he goes, why? I go, because people like you would use them. That's why. That's the first thing we do. Up until now, nobody's walked up to a building and made it disappear. Or done the whole Neo thing at the end of the first Matrix movie, or any of that stuff.
That game, by the way, had some of the best quotes ever.
What? Duke Nukem?
Like "Hail to the King, baby," or like "Your face, the perfect couple."
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. That game had a huge following, and the development team just couldn't get it going for the longest time. I knew the some of the people that did the voices for that game. In fact, I don't want to get into it. It's another story for another time. Before we go, because we've got a few minutes left, I want to kind of do, I was doing every once in a while, I'll go on YouTube and type in Flat Earth and set the filter to this week and see what's going on. Been a lot of, they're still planning. I told you about the weather balloon test, right? Mm-hmm. How they got fully funded for that multi-weather balloon test. They're going to fire up, and send up cameras from a whole bunch of different directions. I tell you about that one? Maybe.
I don't think so.
Maybe. Well, if you've got your browser up, anyone is listening, by the way. Oh, by the way, I've got to plug the phone number. I've got to get used to this. Anyone wants to call in and talk to us. And by the way, I may leave this thing up at all times. This number works all the time, not just during the show. If I've got my machine up and running, you can call. The number is 720-897-6111. That's 720. That's Colorado. 720-897-6111. And please write this down for the next show. I know I didn't give anybody fair warning. It's because I didn't know if I was going to do it because I was setting everything up here up on Whidbey and getting ready for September, and I didn't know how much capability I would have, but it seems to be working just fine. But anyway, so if you're in YouTube, I don't know if you're doing it on your side, Jonathan,
but
listeners, but if I type in Flat Earth, set the filter to 1 week, the guy that's coming up a lot lately is Mr. Thrive and Survive. He's been behind... he's been spearheading the weather balloon project, which is I can't remember if he's doing a fund me page or something like that, but he's gotten full backing. He's got this thing fully funded, and because weather balloons I think are fairly inexpensive compared to other tests, and they're going to set up a whole bunch of balloons in September. I think it's after the 23rd, which is unfortunate. Because would that be? There's the irony, several days before the test actually goes off is when something. By the way, did you watch that stock market thing that happened yesterday?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I already commented on my Facebook quite a bit.
Yikes! Yeah. I'm not gonna jump the gun. I've seen this sort of stuff before, but it is interesting because I couldn't find much rhyme or reason to it.
I got to send you something after the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other guy who's jumping on still doing a lot of great stuff right now is Insanity is Sanity. It's Insanity space is space Sanity. He's doing some great stuff. Remember I told you about the guy that does the cutout. He cuts out stuff with scissors. All the little letters and symbols. Mm-hmm. The guy that I kind of referred it to like the Silence of the Lambs type stuff, or like a Quasi-luminous. He's still doing it. He's still, he just released one called Flat Earth Clues Hiding in Plain Sight, #2. It's like, man, I just watch him and I wonder what, I just don't know where he's going half the time. Zibron is fighting, he's, by the way, we joke about Lord Stephen quite a bit on this show. But I've got to preface this. We don't hate him. Or at least I don't. I don't know what Jonathan thinks.
No, I don't. I actually like his videos. I made a couple positive comments on the quality of the videos. They're top notch.
Yeah, his production team. I shouldn't say that because that implies something. But if he's doing his own production on this, his graphics are way, way better than mine. I mean, he's doing some neat stuff out of the box. I know that Jaron, from Jaronism, we joked when we interviewed him because he was actually using, I think it was Studio 12, which he bought at a Goodwill store for like $4. And that's actually what he's using to make all his graphics in his intros and his closing stuff. And so it does not take a lot of money to do videos. So anyone who wants to go out there and make videos, please, I know.
Whatever gets the point across too. I mean, if you can do it simple and concise and or elaborate and artistic, that's cool too. But yeah.
But Lord Stephen Christ and the whole concave theory, for those of you who don't know, there's a fringe side to this, which is there are people that say that not only is the earth not round, it's inverted. It's that we are living up basically on the inside of a hollow earth, where the landscape actually forms up around us, and kind of like a Dyson sphere from Star Trek Next Generation type stuff. And it's not a globe. So I still can't hate it, and it's a cousin. It's probably an ugly cousin to the flat Earth theory, and there aren't a lot of people. People say, "Why aren't you following?" I get emails every week from people that say, concave is the true way. It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but nobody even knows the concept. Nobody even knows the term. So he and Zibran, Zibrhan, they're the ones that spearhead that, and it's like, yeah. It's cool. Again, I don't hate it.
But you know what? If you bring up Hollow Earth in the context of an actual globe that we've assumed to live on, and you start talking about Admiral Byrd and all that, then I'm totally open, because then centrifugal force with the rotation of the Earth, that would keep everything, to the end, connected down to what we call gravity, on a large surface. But then I start to have issue where it doesn't look like Halo or what's that movie with Matt Damon and Jodie Foster, where you go Elysium.
Oh yeah, Elysium.
Where you wouldn't see the Earth or anything curve up into the sky. That's the only issue I would have with that whole.
Yeah, that's my only problem too. And I get the I'm going to pronounce it wrong. The recticlinator experiment on the beach. I mean, it's a clever test, but you still run into that issue of the land is going to start sloping up. And that is a good, you got to remember the globe, it slopes down, and on a flat, it stays flat. But the concave side, it slopes up, which means, eventually you're going to see more and more of the mountain. It's going to be the opposite of refraction. It's just going to get.
I'll give credit one more way to Lord Stephen in this. Yeah. There are some who believe, and I never got this. That when the first settlers came here, Christopher Columbus came here, I forget what video this was in. Yeah. Was it Zeitgeist, maybe?
Maybe.
You ever seen no Zeitgeist video?
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Then there were 3 of them.
Yeah, and they talk about, maybe it was there, but they talk about natives not seeing the ships coming towards the shore.
Right. Yeah,
because they couldn't.
They had no concept of it. Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, that doesn't make sense, because on a given day, there's a lot of things I see that I wouldn't necessarily understand or recognize. Like if it was going through the sky, we'd call it a UFO.
Yeah.
Or a triangle, circle, whatever. But the basic ship or outline of a ship or something, or people on it. Now, you would recognize people. Yeah. You wouldn't just see people floating across the water. You would see the mast. You would see... it might be surreal.
You may not be able to. Yeah, I didn't understand that either, which was they said they physically couldn't see it because they had no concept of the term ship. And I was going,
That's these are intelligent natives. I mean, these are people that found plants like ayahuasca in the jungle. They didn't recognize that either, right? But they figured it out. So I'm thinking, it would be surreal, like when you see a blimp up close. Yeah. You're like, damn, that's so cool. It's floating and it's big and it's so out of my mind. Yeah. But no, they would. But if it's true that they were that way, they couldn't see it until they saw, actually understood it.
Yeah.
Then maybe the hollow earth theory and all that is in the same area of our brain because we can't see it or understand it. Just like flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's not a meme yet. It's not that universal thought yet.
No. And you're right. And which is again why I'm gunning for the 100th monkey effect, which is eventually, sooner or later, this is going to click. There's going to click in, and there's going to be a lot less people that are resisting with everything they have. They're not going to, instead of turning away, they're just going to, they'll be completely neutral to it. I'll take neutral any day of the week over violent opposition, or where people are just saying, you're getting so angry. It's like, look, I'm not trying to change your world. That's going to happen. This seems to be predestined, which is again why when it comes down to, if I ever get stacked up against whatever astrophysicist or a panel of astrophysicists, it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
Because look, there's only 7,000 of them in the world right now, as for the last time I checked. And it is, there isn't enough of them to go around. And they're losing the numbers game already. If they were smart, they would put up some sort of organized front, because right now the amount of people that are catching on to this thing, and they're catching on quick. It's spreading all over the place. That the battle's already lost on their side. It's just a question of how long before somebody finally just throws in the towel.
And another analogy I like to use is like the movie Pleasantville. They were content to live in a black and white world.
There you go.
Shades of gray.
That's an excellent one.
But once the color was there's no going back to saying I don't understand what color is.
No.
It's like I always think of what's her name?
What the girl?
Helen Keller. No, Helen Keller. If you read her books and stuff, she was like so profound in what she wrote, and I'm thinking, how can you understand the depth of these things that you're writing about without sight and sound,
Yeah.
And yet she wrote in such complex terms, and I'm thinking, how would you explain the color red to somebody who's blind?
There you go.
But once they see it, now if they go blind later on, they can maybe recall it, I guess, if it's progressive blindness, and say, oh yeah, I remember the color red. But at what point does it maybe fade out of memory?
Yeah.
You see, or inversely, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what if there's so much around us that we're just not seeing? And like you said, that 100th monkey theory all happened, all of a sudden, like, really? How the hell did I miss this?
Yeah, and everybody, and there is some embarrassment when you first have that click in and have that moment, which is, especially for me, because I'm so dense sometimes, that was literally right in front of my face 15 years ago, literally right in front of my face. I could not see the forest for the trees, but you got to remember that everybody fell for it. It's the P.T. Barnum line. I think I used this last show, and that is, all the people get fooled some of the time. Remember how he said, some of the people all the time, all the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. But you can. This trick has only been going on 60 years. You could fool them all if you wanted to for a while. And it seemed to work. So don't feel bad if you fell for it, because everybody fell for it. Didn't matter how beautiful you were, how rich, how powerful, how smart. I mean, there's astrophysicists out there that firmly believe this because, they went to school and had their PhD in this. And they, everything they're based around. Now, again, I kind of joke, when I smirk when I say this, but it's true. Any astrophysicist, when this thing finally clicks in and they realize what they're up against, they're going to crawl into a bottle of very expensive scotch, and they're not coming out.
Well, I always think of the astronauts when they came back from the first.
The Apollo guys.
How they looked.
Oh yeah, Buzz and Neil and crap, I can't remember the guy with the mustache. But yeah, when they were sitting at that international press conference, they should have been high as kites. They just had a ticker tape parade. They were, and then they look at the look on their face said it all, which was, we know something. We know something that's so big that it doesn't matter how much of a pep talk you give, how many accolades you throw on us. It's not gonna do this. Oh yeah, and to your point, we've got like 3.5 minutes. What?
I was gonna make a joke. What if they went up?
What?
Not only did they not make it to the moon, they hit the dome ceiling, and then they saw the Earth was flat, and then they were told it's national security, guys.
Nice.
What a kick in the nuts.
No, because it was Capricorn 1 style for those guys. That right? It goes even further, and people think I'm kidding when I say this because they ask me about Challenger and they keep sending me the links. Again, people want to have fun. Look up the Challenger astronauts are still alive videos or websites. But no astronauts have ever been on the top of any rocket. So you have to tell them on the ground, like Capricorn 1.
Right.
You basically pull them into a meeting room with some crappy chairs, right, and say, yeah, you're not going anywhere. and here's why.
Well, how about this, though? If you're pushing the space program and you really spin people's heads away from the Vietnam War disaster fiasco, right? They should have had paraphernalia up the wazoo from a marketing perspective. They should have had all three of those guys sitting at malls all across America like Santa Claus, with little kids sitting on their laps like Captain Kangaroo reading to them and telling them about their trip to the moon. And none of that happened.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to win this thing. Holy crap.
I know. These guys, Neil Armstrong, he crawled.
NASA hats, American flags, little capsules.
I know. These guys, it was rough.
G.I. Joe dolls dressed as astronauts.
But that is why they didn't tell any astronauts after that, because the Apollo program was such a disaster. All these guys who were, literally the right stuff, Boy Scouts, all of them.
I was just thinking, did they ever have a playset that was like G.I. Joe, right, of the moon with you had a moon landing, and then you had that little Eagle Lander complete with a roll of aluminum foil?
Oh, that's really good.
Think about it. I don't remember ever seeing that playset.
Good point. That's really good. So we got a minute and a half till the break. Or I'm sorry. No, it's good because we're.
This is the espresso, by the way. I had 2 cups of espresso. I'm amped up.
I'm sorry. Was that espresso? You said?
Shut up. You're over there.
Anyway, one more quick thing before we go. I got to mention, because a couple of people sent me videos from Star Gods, because Flat Earth Alert, because he was claiming, I don't know who else was claiming this, that people that were doing Flat Earth videos, they were getting pulled down for various reasons. That was the rumor spreading around, and I can tell you, only from my standpoint, of course, I've gotten no resistance whatsoever, that I haven't gotten anything pulled down or restricted. As a matter of fact, I may turn on comments, and let's see what happens after that. And again, if you guys don't want me to turn on comments, please send me emails and let me know you don't want to turn on comments. 30 seconds for the break. One more guy I want to mention before I let you plug your show. Daniel Pratt. That's his YouTube channel. Daniel space Pratt, Pratt. He just does some great stuff to the camera. People should take lessons. It's like, look, he's just straight to the point, wears his soul in his sleeve. Jonathan has a show. It is called
Perceptions.
It airs Thursday nights from what time Eastern? 12
Eastern. That's midnight. 9 p.m. Pacific.
All right, cool, man. That's it. We're out of here. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. See you soon.
Yep.
Someone wanna tap that jukebox for me?
Oh, it's going to be a great day.
Do you ever drift off and have weird fantasies?
Let's get this mix going.
Powerful tiny fists.
Let's get this mix going. God, I am liking this.
Yeah, me too.
Jumbo. That's why you look hello. I had jumbo juice this morning. Berry blast with an echinacea boost. It was delicious. Jumbo juice. It was delicious. Very delicious. I'm a liquor river. You'll be dead. I'll be alive though. I'll be alive.
Let's get this going.
Yeah, get what going?
Let's get this going.
And baby, I mean all into the mix. Baby, I mean all into the mix.
Ask Benny why he's such a girly girl.
Ow!
Do it now, call her Betty.
Betty?
Yeah.
Betty?
Yeah, call her Betty. Betty. Yeah.
Betty?
Yeah.
Betty?
Yeah.
Okay, call is in the house. Call it number one. Call is in the house.
Put in.
Call is in the house. Call it number one.
Cole.
Woman, can't you see I'm in surgery?
Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Choo choo.
Ladies and gentlemen, toot tootie, Dr. Turk's a cutie. Toot tootie.
Yes, I am.
Hey guys, what's up? You out here scoping the ladies? I hear Rebecca B has sex with multiple partners.
Yo, beatbox.
What?
Beatbox, son?
Welcome to Turk's Food Breakdown.
Dr. Beerface, let's see if he wants to play macaroni.
Doctor?
Are you all dying to know why I'm in such a festive mood?
Because you're about to do something horrible to us?
Your face is looking quite normal.
Hey, there.
Your face is looking quite eagle.
Jumbo, doctors, Jumbo.
That's why you for hello.
I had Jumbo juice this morning. Berry blast with an echinacea boost. It was delicious. Jumbo juice. It was delicious. Very delicious. I'm gonna live forever. You'll be dead. I'll be alive though. I'll be alive.
Well, thanks for... Something funny?